You wake up. For a second, you're somewhere else. A hallway that doesn't exist. A conversation with someone you haven't spoken to in years. Then it's gone. Just like that. Your alarm is buzzing. The light is real again, and within 60 seconds, most of what you saw has already dissolved. You try to grab it. You can't. But here's the strange part. That fading world wasn't random noise. Your brain built it on purpose, and the real answer to why is far stranger than your mind is just resting. Think about it. Every single night without fail, your brain switches off your ability to move, hijacks your own imagination, and runs a simulation so convincing you forget it isn't real. Why would evolution keep something so bizarre? Something that costs you hours, gives you nothing you can hold, and vanishes the moment you need it? The answer starts almost 100 years ago, with a discovery that surprised everyone. In 1953, at the University of Chicago, a researcher named Eugene Aserinsky was watching his young son sleep, wired up to a machine meant to track eye movement. He expected stillness. Instead, he saw something odd. The boy's eyes were darting back and forth rapidly again and again as if watching something invisible. This was the discovery of REM sleep, rapid eye movement, the stage where nearly all vivid dreaming happens. Before this, scientists assumed the sleeping brain simply went quiet. They were wrong. During REM, your brain is almost as electrically active as when you're wide awake. Your eyes move, your heart rate shifts, and your body, sensing the danger of acting out whatever you're imagining, does something remarkable. It paralyzes you. This isn't a flaw, it's a safeguard. Neuroscientists call it REM atonia, a temporary shutdown of the signals that would otherwise let you physically act out your dream. Without it, you'd be kicking, running, swinging your arms at things that aren't there. Your brain builds an entire world, then locks your body in place so you don't hurt yourself living inside it. That alone should tell you something. Whatever is happening during a dream, your body treats it as real enough to require restraint. So what is actually happening in there? For most of the 20th century, the dominant idea was Freud's. Dreams as hidden wishes, disguised in symbols, waiting to be decoded. It made for compelling therapy sessions. It made for far less compelling science. Modern sleep researchers have mostly moved away from it, not because dreams don't mean anything, but because the picture turned out to be more functional and frankly more useful than hidden desire. One of the clearest voices here is Matthew Walker, a sleep scientist at the University of California, Berkeley. Walker's research points to something almost radical. Dreaming, he argues, works like an overnight therapy session. During REM sleep, your brain reactivates emotional memories from the day, but it does so while stripping out the stress chemical that normally floods your system when you first experienced them. You relive the memory, you don't relive the panic. Walker calls this sleep to forget, sleep to remember. You keep the information, you lose the sting. Over and over, night after night, your brain is quietly filing away what happened to you and softening how much it hurts. That's one piece. Here's another, and it comes from a very different angle. A Finnish cognitive scientist named Antti Revonsuo proposed something called the threat simulation theory. His idea is simple, but it reframes everything. Dreams, especially the tense, chasing, falling, confronting kind, aren't glitches. They're rehearsals. For most of human history, the world outside the cave or the camp was dangerous. Predators, rival groups, sudden violence, a brain that could practice responding to danger, even in a completely safe, sleeping body, had an edge. You dream of being chased not because something is wrong with you, but because your ancestors who dreamed of being chased, who mentally rehearsed the escape, tended to survive the real version a little more often. Revonsuo found that dream content skews heavily toward threat and conflict, far more than ordinary waking life would predict. Your dreaming brain isn't wasting time. It's running drills. Now here's where it gets even stranger. This isn't just an old evolutionary leftover, it's still happening to you right now in ways you don't notice. Consider a study many people have heard fragments of but rarely the full context. Researchers at Harvard Medical School had participants spend hours navigating a virtual maze before an afternoon nap. Some napped and dreamed about the maze. Some napped without dreaming about it at all. Some didn't nap. When tested afterward, the group that had dreamed specifically about the maze performed dramatically better at solving it, far beyond what the extra rest alone could explain. Something about actually dreaming the task, not just sleeping near it, sharpened the skill. Your brain wasn't just resting during that nap, it was practicing. This is where dream researcher Rosalind Cartwright's work becomes important. Cartwright, who spent decades studying dreams at Rush University in Chicago, found that people going through emotionally difficult periods, like divorce, often dream more intensely about the very thing distressing them. And the people who dreamed directly about their situation, rather than dreaming around it or not remembering their dreams at all, tended to cope better and recover faster afterward. The dreaming itself seemed to be doing psychological work, not avoiding the pain, processing it. So put these pieces together. Your brain uses dreams to diffuse emotional memories. It uses them to rehearse danger. It uses them to practice skills and work through unresolved problems. That's not just resting. That's an entire overnight operations center, running while you're completely unconscious of it. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If dreaming does all of this, why can't you remember most of it? Here's the twist. You're not supposed to remember all of it. If you retained every dream in full detail, every night, your memory would become flooded with simulations that never actually happened. Some researchers believe the fading of dreams on waking is itself a feature, not a failure. Your brain gets the benefit, the emotional processing, the rehearsal, the memory consolidation, while your conscious mind stays clean, uncluttered by thousands of fictional nights. You get the therapy without the transcript. And this changes how you should think about waking up disoriented, or shaken by a nightmare, or unable to place a dream you know mattered somehow. That disorientation is a sign the system worked, not that it failed. Your brain reached into difficult material. It ran the simulation, and then, mercifully, it let most of it go. There's a modern mirror to all of this, and it's closer than you think. You already build simulations while awake. You rehearse an argument in the shower before it happens. You imagine a difficult conversation with a friend 3 different ways before you actually have it. You picture a presentation going wrong, then going right, then going wrong again. Psychologists sometimes call this prospective imagination, and it uses many of the same brain regions as dreaming. You are, in a very real sense, dreaming with your eyes open every single day, testing out futures before you commit to one of them, which means dreaming was never some strange, useless leftover bolted onto your brain by accident. It's the nightly version of something you rely on constantly while conscious, running problems, rehearsing danger, softening pain, before you ever have to face the real thing. So tonight, when the hallway that doesn't exist appears again, or you're running from something with no face, or you're back in a room from 15 years ago talking to someone who isn't there anymore, remember this. It isn't noise. It isn't nonsense. It's your oldest survival tool, still running every single night, quietly rehearsing you for a life you haven't lived yet. And when it fades in the morning light, that isn't loss. That's the system working exactly as it was built to.